What a game. They're good. They're an NCAA basketball team. I'm lucky. I've coached in that tournament. I know what teams that make that tournament play like and look like. That's their resume, their numbers, their efficiency, all that stuff. They're good. And they're playing better and better and better as the year goes on. But what a game! Just hard, physical. Avery and I were just talking out in the tunnel there. That's old-time basketball there. That's not this new wave of everyone get out of the way and just let people do whatever. That's two teams that just fighting tooth and nail and weren't going to give anything easy to anybody. But real proud of our guys, proud of our fans. Once again, 18,000. We don't win that game. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but those two free throws by Obasahan were big misses. When he missed the first, our people went nuts, and that impacted the second. I don't care what anyone tells me. And that's what you look for when you have home court environments.
Frank, they came into the game as I think the least fouling team in the SEC, but you guys went right at them, managed to get them in foul trouble. Just what was the approach to try to get them in foul trouble?
Yeah, we couldn't make free throws. I don't know. Dwayne noticed. Dwayne had a death in the family, not last night, the night before, and so obviously, he's dealing with that. And for him to even play shows the kind of kid he is. But that's who we are. When we're good, we are attacking that rim, and we're getting to the foul line. And now we got to, I don't usually make guys run for free throws, but we might have to start doing that because we're going to end up losing a game because of missed free throws, and it shouldn't come to that. We got guys that make free throws. They've made them in the past. They need to make them again. But that's who we are. When we rebound and shoot free throws, that means we played well.
In turn, they only shot at 25% from the field in the first half. Avery said that he thought that it was just you guys turned up the intensity. Was there anything that you did different in the game, or was it just that, turned up the intensity?
Yeah, Brian, that's why I took the stat sheet last time we played it and threw it away. And that's not trying to discredit them. That's just we didn't. They came to play and we didn't, and that's why we got royally embarrassed over there. Today we played more to our personality, who we are. I thought our ball screen defense, which was atrocious at their place, for as many ball screens as they set, I thought our ball screen defense was pretty darn good today. I thought our enthusiasm, our energy, our toughness, our disciplines. I challenged Stroman and PJ at halftime that they can't just be out there as mannequins. They have to have the courage to go out there and make plays. They both did that in the second half. PJ was, in a crucial part of the game. PJ was great. And he came up with some big-time rebounds, big-time steals. When your point guard gets a defensive rebound or a steal, now guys take off and run. And now you've got your point guard coming at people downhill, making decisions, and he did that. And he made great plays in a critical part of the game, both on the glass, defensively and offensively. That's three, not both, right? Three, in all three phases. How about that?
Frank, you kind of touched on it out at courtside, but the courage, I guess, Mike had to kind of put up that three-pointer when Obasahan was on that run. Really kind of blunted them, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a shame that we became inept offensively for a couple minutes there and just gave them life with just pathetic turnovers. And I hate using – there's another negative word. I dislike using a negative word, but they were pathetic. They were embarrassing turnovers, and Mike didn't shoot it well today. Mike was too much on edge. Mike hates losing, and I can tell yesterday in practice and a shoot around today that he couldn't wait for the game, and he was just too much on edge. He was so wrapped up with the physicality of the game, with calls, with a mistake, and I spent the whole game trying to settle him down. To his credit, he finally did. But to have the courage on a night where he wasn't shooting it well, when we had to have a basket, to shoot it, let alone not make it, shoot it, but to make it just shows the kind of confidence that he's playing with right now.
Coach Martin, it seemed towards the end of the game and then after the game there was a little back and forth. Was that just the emotional pitch of the game, or did you notice it all?
Nothing there. That's two teams that fight tooth and nail for every play, and there's nothing cheap, nothing negative said, just competitive. It's when you don't shake hands, and people say, "Oh, unsportsmanlike," they got no. That's why in the NBA they kind of like point at each other and they go opposite directions, because when the game's over, there's a team that won and a team that lost, and both teams are still kind of juiced up. You don't compete and be a nice guy. When you compete, you're competing. And now all those handshakes, you can't all of a sudden go from I'm trying to do everything right, and in a competitive game like today, and all of a sudden say, okay, it's over. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you again. Great job. It's you got to shake hands. I understand that, but that's a kind of our team respects them, and I think they respect us.
Coach, you talked about Carrera being amped up and having trouble at times controlling himself at certain points. Do you like the fact, though, that players sometimes feed off a crowd and energy like tonight, especially when you have a sold-out building? Do you want them to feed off that environment going into a game like this?
Yeah, that's different than what Mike was wrapped up about. Mike was wrapped up about his matchup, about the calls and the bumps or the grabs or the whole, and he had to just let it go. And then he was so wrapped up in that early in the second half I had to take him out because he wasn't taking care of our assignments. I was trying to run a play for him to start the second half, and he was in his personal, I don't know what to call it, just in his own place trying to figure out a way to fix the problem on his own, because when he posted, they banged him. It was physical. And he wanted the referee to call, and, it's Mike, play. We've been through this as a freshman. We don't need to start this nonsense again. To his credit, he did. But once again, it's what's this? 5 straight home games since Memphis. Is that correct? 5, 6? I don't know how many we've played since Memphis, but in every game it's been at least 12-5 and above, and the crowd gives our team courage to go win these kind of games. And it's also I'm just telling you, I love the fact that our guys play so hard and our crowd is really starting to engage, because they were starting to come last year. You don't end up 30th in the country or 31st, whatever, but they kind of would sit there and like they really didn't know if they wanted to invest their passion into our team. That's starting to happen. Our guys are believing, our fans are believing. At the end, we're either going to celebrate together or cry together. I don't know which one it is, but that's when it's fun, when you do things together that way.
Chris got the start tonight. Can you just talk about his progression this season and the physicality he continues to show into the basket?
Yeah, Chris, I wasn't happy with our starts to games and the second halves, and defensively, Chris is just real good. He just his toughness, his athleticism, he's way ahead on defense than what he is on offense. His ball screen defense is tremendous, and he earned the right to get out there, and he did exactly that. He set the tone for the game with his ball screen defense. See, when the bigs do their jobs in ball screen defense, then the guards know that they're covered, so they can be even more aggressive on the basketball. And that's kind of what happened. And we forced everything they were doing closer to the half-court line, which then doesn't put as much pressure on your ball screen coverage. But Chris is – I'm real proud of him. Because I've been hard on him, and as a freshman, he could pout and all that because that's what freshmen do sometimes. He never has. But his Mindalgas, Michael, those guys have taken Chris under their wing, and they stay on him. They work with him. They help him. They teach him, and Chris eats that up. And hats off to him for playing so well. Not just from I guess he scored 11 or 12 or something like that. But his discipline defensively. He went to go block some shots early in the game that now when their guards drove, they weren't just saying, let's go shoot layups. They were looking for him, and that's what he brings to the table. It's real proud of him.
Frank, I know you don't really like to look ahead, but of your next 4 games, 3 of them are against the top 3 teams in the SEC. Of course, with you guys up there with them. Just how good do you feel about your team entering this stretch?
I don't know how you do your math, but how are those teams ahead of us? We got the same number of losses, but I don't know. we're worried about Georgia. I ain't worried. If I sat down and I went like this and I said, holy cow, we got to play all them teams. You know what? I ain't coaching. I'm going to go back and do something else for a living. You know, we got Georgia on Tuesday. You know, that's going to be hard. And they just, I guess someone told me they got beat tonight. They got beat at Baylor tonight. Yeah. And, you know, Mark does a great job. He's got senior guards. Those, you know, J.J. Frazier and Mann and Gaines, those three guys have been playing together for 3 years. The young man inside, his name escapes me, number 1. He's become as dominant a big guy as we got in this league right now. They're good, and we're going to go into Georgia, and Mark's going to have those guys revved up, and you know, and they're probably still upset that we won there last year. So you know, we got to be ready to go take the best shot from a team, and then we're going to be off on Wednesday, and then by Wednesday at dinner time, I'll be miserable because I got to figure out the next game, and it's just. But if I were to go like this and say, well, 3 of our next 4 are on the road, and no, the heck with this. I'm going to go sell real estate for a living. It's, you know, it's.
You kind of talked about it. I know the next 2 are on the road, but, you know, entering this February grind, how nice it was to have these 2 home games and now 2 home wins as you enter that stretch?
You know, Brian, it's when the season's over, you get 9 home and 9 away. I don't know how they're slotted. You know, some teams might have played 4 of their first 6 at home. We played 4 of our 6 on the road. Well, I said that last week. Well, a week later, we've now played the same number of home games, same number of road games. It all balances out. It's your team has to be good enough to deal with the challenges of the schedule, physically and mentally. I don't know if we're there yet, but I tell you this: when February hits and it becomes February the 1st, feels pretty good to know that we're 19-2 and 6-2 in league play. It's a lot to be proud of our kids. It's hard for me to enjoy that right now because I'll be so consumed with playing Georgia. But it's 18,000 in the building, 19-2, 6-2 on February the 1st. You know, that's pretty good stuff by our kids. Yep.